Hi, I'm Jessie and welcome to my channel, Glitterary. This is my aura behind me. It's my aura, it's orange. Alright, today I'm back again after quite a long time away with a book haul. I've been up and down during this pandemic in terms of being in a book slump, then reading a whole bunch at once, then going back into a slump, and I just thought maybe a good way to get excited about reading again and to hold myself accountable would be to come back to this channel. So I'm going to show you some of the books I bought recently. Oh, don't worry, the fact that I haven't been reading doesn't mean I haven't been buying, because when you're sad, spend some money. Spend some money on books. One thing that a local bookstore did that was really cool was they made personalized little packages for you. You had to tell them your 3 favorite books and they would put together something and bring it to you, perfectly curated for your tastes. I told them that I like Autobiography of Red by Anne Carson, Lincoln in the Bardo by George Saunders, and then Nothing to Envy, which is about ordinary lives in North Korea by, don't remember, but that was what I told them. They gave me the following. Say Nothing. This is a book about the Troubles in Northern Ireland in the 90s. Everyone has been talking about this book for about a year now. It is sometimes classified as true crime, but I don't like to classify it as true crime because it feels a little bit disrespectful of the scope. But I actually do already own this book, but I'm still really excited to get it again because I think it's wonderful. I'm going to be giving it to my friend Allison, but for anybody who doesn't really know a lot about Irish history or about what happened in Northern Ireland in the 90s, maybe you've seen the show Dairy Girls and you were really into it, I would definitely recommend this book. It is so interesting. It's like a chunk, but you would never know while you're reading it because it goes by super fast. This is by Patrick Radden Keefe. I need to be more respectful about authors. So this is by Patrick Radden Keefe. Say Nothing. It's great. That was the first book they sent me. Another book, which I am extra excited about because, I don't know if you can say here, it's an advanced uncorrected proof. It makes me feel very fancy to have this, an ARC, even though I'm not anybody who would get sent an ARC. But this is Rebecca Solnit's My Recollections of My Non-Existence. It's a memoir that she wrote. She wrote Men Explain Things to Me, which is super famous, and she's just like, she's an artist. She talks a lot about like what it means to have a voice, what it means to have her voice, and what it means to kind of intersect with all these people who want her to shut up. I haven't read it yet, but I am very keen to. I am extra excited because now when I see it in bookstores, it's like a hardback, and I hate hardbacks. So I got it in paperback, and I got it early, and I haven't read it. So, yep. How many times am I just gonna say so for no reason? Rebecca Solnit. And then I got this, Women Talking. This is by Miriam Toews. This one is really heavy. It is about the Mennonite women who for a while were kind of talking amongst themselves, or maybe just thinking to themselves that they were having these horrible dreams of being visited and having horrible things happen to them. And then they slowly realized it wasn't a dream, they were being drugged and raped by people in their religious group. And this is nonfiction as well, I don't know if I said that, and this is the account of how they moved out, and especially talk about a society where women aren't allowed to have a voice. This was a lot for them to grapple with, and a lot with their society to grapple with in terms of being believed, in terms of being empowered to do something. I am excited about this, but kind of wary about it, just because it's very hard for me to read about rape. I don't particularly like the subject, but I think it's important, and I like stories about people who survive and overcome a lot of things, and it's not just like rape for the sake of character development or something. So yeah, I can't wait to read this. And then the last book that came in my curated haul was a poetry collection by Natalie Shapiro. This I have read. It's called Hard Child. Teeny on there. It is awesome. They're like very brief poems. They're super fast. They're very witty. She's got a good turn of phrase, which I guess you have to for a poet. A lot of them are about her pregnancy or trying to become pregnant and the kind of absurdity in raising a child or preparing to raise a child in a place where everything's kind of messed up, which is to say, the world. Yikes. Anyway, I'm super grateful to Greedy Reads for putting this curated package together for me. It was, I think it was special for the pandemic, but they made it a permanent thing on their website. So if you are in the Baltimore area or if you want to have it shipped to them, you can look up Greedy Reads online. They didn't pay me or give it to me for free. I paid for it, in fact. So that's how you know it's good, is when you pay for it, you would pay for it again, and you would tell anyone else to pay for it. Another thing I got from them, they were putting together these bundles that all had different themes. They were super cool themes, like about dreams and about crying. And I got the one that was about Eastern Europe, because of course I did. Get ready for me to pronounce some stuff, by the way. So the first one in the Eastern European package is Tiger's Wife. This is by Thea Obrecht. I have not read this yet. I did because I'm an idiot. When I saw that they sent me this one, I was like, oh, she wrote Inlands. I should read Inland. And I did not like it. And it's made me not necessarily want to read this, even though Inland is a Western. It takes place in Arizona in like 1901. This takes place in the Balkans. They don't seem thematically similar at all. My problem with Inland wasn't the writing, it was the fact that I didn't care about the guy and his camel. So I probably will like this, or at least appreciate the craft. Respect the motherfucking craft. I should read this. I need to read this. Everyone loves it. It's my fault for not liking Inland. And then, speaking of pronouncing some things, this is by Laszlo Krasnohorkai, Satan Tango. This one won the Man Booker International. This is, everybody says, a very intense book. On the back it's called A Monster, and it is about the arrival of a man who may or may not be a prophet, or the devil, or a con artist, in rotting, rain-drenched Hungarian hamlet infested with failures and spiders and drunks. It is supposed to be fantastic, but very, 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 very heavy. So it's been a little bit intimidating, but I do want to read it, especially, I feel like sometimes you like get a book and it's a book, I'd never heard of this before, and then suddenly everyone was talking about it. So I feel like that's fate telling me I need to read this book, and I will. This also happened with the next Abigail by Magda Szabo, also Hungarian. This takes place during World War II. This was a book that, like, I'm part of a community on Reddit where we talk about books we've been reading, and after I bought it, or after it came with the Eastern European package, I'd never heard of it. Everyone was talking about it. Like, once a month somebody would be like, oh, I just read Abigail and I loved it. And I was like, what? Oh, it's fate again. This is about a girl who goes to a boarding school, and she has been spoiled as she grows up. Her father is a widower, and so he just kind of indulges her, and like he's very charmed by her. And the same is not true for those who meet her in the school, and so she runs away and then is caught and then is brought back. There's a statue in the school called Abigail, of a woman called Abigail, and there's a legend that if you leave a message for her, she'll help you with whatever you need help with. And Gina, the main character of the book, seeks to do so, but she's in all this trouble she doesn't even realize she's in. The back says, okay, something of Jane Austen in this story. Nice, love Jane Austen. Then it says, fans of J.K. Rowling are sure to enjoy, like, first of all, no, I'm not. Second of all, what does J.K. Rowling and Jane Austen have to do with one another? I would never compare them. It's just because they're irreverent students, weird teachers in boarding school? Is that the reason? I don't know. That puts me off a little bit. Ugh. Other than that, I'm sure this book is great, and I can't wait to read it. This is just like me trying to come up with reasons why I haven't read these books yet, and it's because we're in a pandemic, and I'm stressed, and I'm sad. It's not the book's fault. I'm sure you're excellent. I'm gonna read you, I promise. This is a promise. This is the start. This is turning over an Animal Crossing new leaf. I don't want these books to fall as I'm stacking them. And the last part is Women by Mikhail Sebastian. I haven't been saying the name of anyone who translated this. Translated these. This is translated by... Shoot, I should know. Philip Ocelle. So Mikhail Sebastian is a pretty cool guy, but his life story is pretty sad. He was a Jew growing up in Romania. He survived the Holocaust only to die later in a complete freak accident in 1945, which is really tragic, but we're still talking about his writing all this time. He is famous for his political writing, and I think his most famous book is 2,000 Years. This one is about 4 people. One man, I think his name is Stefan. Yeah, Stefan Valoru, a Romanian who goes to Paris, and he meets these 3 women, and he reflects all on their connections or lack of connections. There's unrequited lovers, there's marriages of convenience, there's all kinds of ways that you can relate with another person. And this is his story, these 3 women's stories, the way they touch, the way they don't touch, the way they come back apart. It's supposed to be a lot packed into a very little. And it is described on the back, courtesy of the New York Times, as elegiac. And I like that. I don't know if I said it right. I'm sure my sister will know if she sees this video. She'll be like, yikes, yikes, you said that wrong. So that's what I got from Greedy Reads. They're a local indie bookstore. They have nothing to do with sponsoring this video. I just love them, and I think they should be supported in these uncertain times. So if you need an indie bookstore to order from, go for it. These next ones are from, they might all be from Book of the Month and the library. Yeah. Oh no, also from the Atomic. So this is from Book of the Month, The Death of Vivek Oji. This book came out in August in the US. It's another one that everyone's been talking about. This is one I've read. I read the whole thing. It's by Akwekwe Emezi. They are super talented. They also wrote Pet, which is phenomenal. It's middle grade or young adult, which I usually don't read, but I really like Akwekwe Emezi, so I read that. The writing is not what I had a problem with in this book. I felt like I was taking crazy pills, because everybody who reads this cannot stop raving about it, about how it's a work of art. I love literary fiction. I love hard books. That wasn't the problem. Let me start from the beginning. For those of you who don't know, this is about a, I will say, trans woman. They don't identify that way in the book, but they live in Nigeria and have died. This book is about the grief in the wake of this death. This book is about this person's life leading up to that death, everyone's perceptions and interactions with this person, and what the way they are vis-a-vis transness relates to them. So Vivek, aka Nemdi, dies before their parents know anything about Vivek Nemdi being trans. They have no idea. They believe their child is sick, possibly possessed by a demon, according to the aunt and uncle. It's very intense, and I did love the portrayal of this grieving family who just doesn't even know the person they miss so much and the person that has been taken from them that's such a hole in their heart. And I think there's something to that, that when they find out, I should be saying spoiler alert, but none of it is exactly spoilers necessarily. There's something that I consider a spoiler that I won't say, but they find out Vivek Nemdi's friends come clean and show pictures of Nemdi wearing a dress and wearing lipstick and living their best life. And so they find out after their child has died, and they feel a lot of guilt because they feel responsible for their child's death. Like, oh, our kid wouldn't have died if we had known, if we had been accepting, but like, in all honesty, if this was still a living person coming and saying, I'm not your son, I'm your daughter, would they have been accepting? So that's interesting to see. I think there's a lot that, like, once you know what there is to lose, you realize how much you're capable of love. But then there's this whole other thing with the cousin being in love with Vivek Nemdi, and that is very troubling to me. And I don't know if it's like Nigerian culture versus me as a Westerner, like when you read Jane Austen and the cousins get married and you're like, yikes. I don't know if it's that, and in Nigeria maybe it's totally normal. It's not really spoken about. It's more of like a forbidden love because it's somebody who was assigned male at birth and a cis man. Like, that's kind of how it's couched. But it was very, very troubling for me. It just felt like more trauma for Vivek Nemdi. More people wanting to use them. More people looking for them for what could be given. It was really upsetting and, like, never talked about in that part. I don't know if that's the work I'm supposed to be doing as the reader, or if this is just something extra I'm getting out of it that I shouldn't be thinking about or conceiving of it that way. Maybe I should regard it as this very beautiful love. I don't know. But it was upsetting and it really bothered me. And I just don't know what to think of this book. And I'm really curious to hear more of the people who loved it, to hear what they had to say. Because mostly what I've heard has just been vague, that it's beautiful, that etc., etc. And I just don't know. So if you're a fan of this book, like, meet me in the comments, tell me I'm wrong, tell me what I missed. I really want to know. I want to love this book. I love Okoye and Emezi. I love their writing. I enjoyed myself while I was reading this book. It's way, way, way beautifully written. I just don't think I get it overall. So, yeah. This book is... Whoops. I know. I knocked something over. I'm sorry. Woke up the cat. I woke up Morris. This is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I feel like I don't really have to talk about this. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's read it. But I'll talk about it anyway. It is about two sisters who are both white passing, though black. And one of them tries to set up life as a white person, insofar as anybody who knows her, and then her sister comes back and shows up with a obviously black baby, and it throws things for a loop in terms of being able to pass as a white person when there's this evidence of blackness. And Britt Bennett is amazing. She wrote Mothers, which is so good. Cannot recommend enough. So I knew I would love this. So when I saw it on Book of the Month, I immediately got it. Not from Book of the Month. I lied earlier. This is from another local bookstore, Atomic. Mexican Gothic, another one I barely have to talk about, because no one can stop talking about it, and that made me really excited. I kind of thought... I don't know what I thought when I saw this on Book of the Month. I thought like, oh, scary books don't usually scare me. Thrillers, I'm not very interested. Horror books, like, need to be like excellent to work on me. Otherwise, I'll just be like, yeah, okay, there's a ghost. Skim, skim, skim. It's a ghost of whatever. But everyone has been saying that no, this book is really spooky. And people who normally aren't spooked out by books have been real creeped out. And so that made me think, okay, I need to give this book a chance. Because if there is a really excellent horror book, a really excellent gothic horror, then I want to read it. And I cannot wait. I just got this book like 2 days ago. So, you should read it. And then this book is from the library. I put it on hold a long time ago, and it finally came in when I have all these other books to read. This is Gone, A Violin, A Life Unstrung. Let me start over. This is Gone, A Girl, A Violin, A Life Unstrung by Min Kim. This is her memoir. She is a violinist. She admits that her violin isn't perfect, but it is hers. It has a little hole in it that she's attempted to patch, and she would recognize it compared to any other violin in the whole world, and then she loses it. And that might not seem like a very compelling premise, but it's not just about somebody losing a physical object. She really feels like she's lost her soul, her soulmate. It's about this really beautiful portrayal of grief. It's about her. It's about who she is without her violin. Does she know if she's anybody, especially considering she's a prodigy, and when you're a prodigy, you really feel like, not that I would know, this is just what I get out of it. When you're a prodigy, you really feel like you are potential. and you need to prove to everyone that you will meet your potential. There's a lot of like need to constantly be growing, constantly be improving, constantly be better and better and better, or else what are you? You're just somebody who could have been something. And that is, she's grappling with all these things. It is amazing. I'm like halfway through. Yeah. I would recommend this book to anyone. Put it on your library list. Wait for a while. It's worth it when it finally comes. Oh, my knees just cracked because I kind of did a squat. I'm thirsty now. Those are all the books that I bought recently. I'm excited to be reading them. I'm excited to be back to this channel. I'm going to be reading again. I'm going to be in it, and I'm going to be in it to win it. Can't wait. Thank you for watching this video. If you got here by accident and you would like to see more, like and subscribe, and then you can be here on purpose. If not, see you later. Bye!